All right, man, here's the video. So this is what you'll be getting. You'll be getting the hilt, a blade, and then this box has a couple things in it. So it's got a belt clip. So if you want to, don't know if you want to or not, but clip this onto your belt. And then these two are the release for what we call a cover tech knob. It's like from, for a cell phone. But what it does is slides right in and then hangs on your belt. Release. Good to go. So, ins and outs. When you get it, it will have what we call a kill key plugged in. The kill key just does what it says. It kills power to the board so that it doesn't drain any battery when it's not on. Actually, before we go into kill key, I'm sending a blade plug, which is this guy in here. It's springy, but if you can see, like right there, when you turn it on without a blade in, generally nothing will happen except for the crystal lighting up. But with a blade plug, you'll see when I turn it on, it actually lights this up here. So it's kind of just a cool effect for when you don't have a blade in. But to get that out, this is so don't mess with this because this is holding some other stuff in. These are the buttons to activate it and everything. But this knob is the retention screw for the blade plug and for the blade when the blade's in. So you unscrew this just a little. You don't need to unscrew it all the way. You can if you want, but you don't need to. And you might have to pinch these bunny ears together because they kind of clamp down on the blade plug. But maybe not because it slides out. But this is the blade plug. Again, it plugs in when the blade isn't there. What you'll see in there are their electrical contact pins that contact with this PCB to ignite to light up the lighting inside here. There's I think there's one light in here, one little pixel, and then you'll see on the end of the blade is the same connection. So you'll set this aside and take the blade, and it's not very deep because of how ornate this stuff is. It doesn't really lend itself to smacking it around or anything because the blade's not going to be very stable. But you push the blade in as far as it'll go. You don't have to give too much force, but just to make sure. The pins in there are actually spring-loaded, so they can take a little bit of tension. But what I would do is I would kind of set this maybe on the ground or on your thigh or something while you push the blade in. Make sure the blade is in there, and then you tighten down the retention screw to make sure the blade doesn't fall out. But again, it's not going to be crazy stable. You shouldn't go smacking anything with it like some other blades you can do, because they sit deeper into here. They'll sit like this deep, so the blade is actually really stable. It's not going to fall out or anything, but it's not crazy stable. And you don't want to over tighten this because it's literally a screw just pushing on this and sandwiching it inside there so it doesn't come out. So if you squeeze or if you screw too much, it'll crack the tubing. So just judgment call. But anyway, so to get the kill key out, you unscrew the handle, and it threads quite a bit. And then be kind of careful when you put it on and off. It sleeves over. You can set that aside. It sleeves over the soundboard. The soundboard is mounted deep in there, so it's not really gonna hit it or anything. And everything's heat shrunk and everything, so it should be pretty solid. But just don't go sliding it on and off really rough or anything. But here's the kill key. Here's the speaker. Again, here's the soundboard. And if you wanted to mess with the sounds that are on it, there's an SD card right here. little spring-loaded SD card. This holds the config files and the sound files, the wave files that play with the lightsaber. So, you know, if you wanted me to tweak something for you, or if you wanted to, you know, learn how to change stuff, this is how you would go about doing it. But then you slide it back in. So when you pull the kill key, it's going to boot the lightsaber up. So it'll play the boot sound of the sound, what we call sound fonts, of the sound font that it is on currently. It'll play that boot sound. This board holds up to, excuse me, I believe 9 different sound fonts. I have 6 on here now that you can cycle through. You know, and they have different blade colors. They have different audio sounds that play, different clash effects. You know, some are more aggressive, some are more, you know, light side of the force, dark side of the force, you know, stuff like that. So you pull this out.
I bring Darth Vader's enemies to justice.
And that's the boot sound for this font. So at this point, I would, you know, you can put this guy back on, thread it back on. And when it gets snug, I would line this grip up to kind of the middle of this gap right here. You don't have to over tighten. And then at this point, it's live. So the top button is the ignition, will light up the blade, and the bottom is the auxiliary switch. So the top lights up the blade, and then hold it to retract it. When it's on, this will do different functions. So when it's on, if you just click it, it's as if you just blocked someone's blaster with your blade. If you hold it, it's as if you're locking blades up with some other guy. And there you go. So those are the basic functions of the buttons. Now to go to the next font, you hold down the auxiliary until it beeps. Then you can let go.
At last, dark side.
Now it's going to the next font. This is the boot sound for the next font.
Rise, my apprentice. What is your will, my master?
So that first font is a red lightsaber. This one is a blue. And this sound font was made to be like he's in the rain. So you hear like the rain trickling effect. And it kind of goes through the blade too. It kind of flickers a little bit. And it's based off the video game, so when you do blaster blocks, you'll hear like enemies in the video game.
Blast that thing! Oh,
And lock up. And the next one is Yoda.
my ally is the Force, and a powerful ally it is.
And then obviously I had to go green with this one. Next one.
You are on this council, but we do not grant you the rank of master.
So this is Mace Windu, so it's going to be purple. But what I did with this one is, initially I had the, you know, funny Pulp Fiction Samuel L. Jackson, but I figured I'd put it to an actual Star Wars sound. But it's going to be purple. And then the difference in a couple of the different sound fonts, what I did was I made it so that if you hold the auxiliary and then push this one as you hold it and then let go of both, so it'll change colors. You can cycle through different colors. So hold, press. You have to do it kind of quick. Hold, press. Hold, press. So now it's going to like an orange. That's a yellow, green, and then when you cycle through these, if you turn it off and turn it back on, it'll go back to the last one that you chose. It's going into blues, so I'm going to go back to purple. It's kind of a deep blue. There we go. There's the Mace Windu purple. So it'll stay on the last one that you chose. So that one is, it's on the Mace Windu and also on the Yoda, I think, are the ones that you can cycle through all the colors. All the other ones are just kind of, they stay at the color they're at. Next one. This is just kind of a random one. So that's red. I think this one cycles too, actually. Yeah, it does. This one cycles too. Just keep it at yellow. And then the last one
I'll show you the dark side.
is Kylo Ren. So the cool thing about this one is it kind of mimics his blade where it flickers a lot and it kind of goes wild. There's a lot of flickering. So that's pretty much the extent of kind of how it works. If you have any questions, I'll also email you the manual. I don't know if it's got, I'll try and find some instructions online that kind of will go through the different activation, auxiliary kind of stuff, but that's pretty much the gist. Yeah, so this is, it's kind of delicate. It's you know, you're not gonna be able to, unless you have a hammer or something, knock these out or anything, but I definitely, you know, try not to drop it. You know, try not to bang things with it or anything like that. It's definitely an ornate kind of shelf queen, as we call it. You know, it's made to sit on a shelf and, you know, take down and mess around with in your lap if you're watching movies or something, you know, for your niece and nephew come over, you know, they want to play around with it and stuff, cool, but just, you know, it's definitely not designed to be dueled with, is what they say. You know, that these kind of guys with less lives go out there and bang these against each other in parks and stuff, which I'm not a part of that, but some of the guys do that. So anyway, and again, if you want to take the blade back out, unscrew this, pull the blade out. The blade too is kind of delicate. You know, it's not going to break very easily or anything, but it does have pixel strips going up and down, and there's some wiring in there and there's some soldering in there, so you know, kind of be a little careful with that. You don't have to baby it or anything, but just, you know, note that. And when you put this guy back in, again, it's spring loaded in here. These pins back in there, kind of hard to see. There's some pins, they're spring loaded. This guy is also, you know, just this gold part is spring loaded. You know, it's just whatever. But you know, you put it in there, and then when you get it in there, if you want, you know, you have to make sure it's seated. So what I do is in the back clear ring part of it, I push down on it to make, see how it kind of bounces a little against those pins. Push down, and as you push down, twist this to tighten it. Again, don't over tighten it. You don't want to crack it. And then if you turn it on with that in, that lights up. You know? It's kind of cool.
I bring Darth Vader's enemies to justice.
And then when you're done messing around with it, what I would do is, you know, unscrew this back off and just plug the kill key back in, just to make sure it doesn't slowly drain the battery, because that cuts power to the whole thing. Otherwise, the board kind of just slowly, over time, there's a battery running down in here that it'll drain. But one last thing, when you're done messing around with it, it should last, you know, 45 minutes or so on a single battery charge, constant messing around with it. If you start having issues where like the speaker starts getting crackly or that kind of thing, that generally means it's low on batteries. So again, in this box, there's a charger. It's a standard 3.1 millimeter or whatever charger. But the difference from this one is this one's designed specifically for 3.7 volt batteries, lithium-ion batteries, which is what this takes. It's got a little light that will, when you plug it in, it'll turn red if it's not charged, and once it's fully charged, it'll turn green. So I have one under my desk here. It's plugged in down there, but if I plug this in, I'm gonna finish charging this before I send it to you, but you have to take out the kill key to plug it in.
Darth Vader's enemies to justice.
And just plug this in instead. And then you can see down there, let's see, mine's plugged in and it's red. So, right down there. So that'll turn green when it's fully charged. So as it's charging, you know, just sit it down on your desk or whatever and let it charge. And then once it's fully charged, that'll turn green, and then you can unplug it, plug your kill key back in, and then set it back up on your shelf, and you're good to go. So I can send you a link to some stands. I have a couple that I use for mine, like you can see in the background here. This is for my Graflex, and I think that this one fits on here too. The test part is it's not like a standard size. So I take this out. Alyssa's watching Full House in the background. So, you know, see, this is a different size, so it's not, you know, you could probably put it like that maybe, and it's not perfectly straight. And then I have, you know, here's another one. This is from like the toys that you can get. This one actually fits better, so it's kind of straight. And then I have another one back there that's kind of cheap, but I'm gonna send you a link to some stands too that you can put up on a shelf or something. So that's about it, man. I will pack it all up and send it out to you soon.